3. In part 3, we'll be talking about some of the advanced features available in Zotero. So one trick in Zotero that I am personally a huge fan of is its ability to import PDFs. So again, let's go find us a PDF. So we've searched EBSCO, thinking about religion, law, politics, and Latin America. So what I can do is, all this article is in Spanish, so you may or may not want to cite it. This is just an example of how the PDF feature works. PDF full text. This brings us to this screen here. We're going to select our download option. So it's going to be this little icon on the right. Now, you'll notice you have a couple options. You have your open, your save file, which will put it on the desktop. But in this case, we want to move it straight into Zotero. We click it here, and we're going to click this tab here that says Retrieve Metadata for PDF. Saving link, connecting to server, and we can see it works just fine. So PDF name, item name, content server. So let's see what that looks like in Zotero, shall we? Here it is. It is our PDF. You can see it's got our journal article, so here's our title. It has a working title, thinking about religion, law, and politics in Latin America, and our author. In other words, everything we need to build a convenient citation. And if you don't know how to do that, please go back to video 2. But essentially, as we've gone over before, so to continue with this, it's worth noting that while I am a huge fan of this feature, it does not always work. PDFs do not always have the most convenient metadata for computers to access. Sometimes the format's tricky, and then sometimes the program just can't read it. So, it's one of the things we have to come to terms with is it just may or may not work kind of the way we want it to. So with other PDFs, you're going to get an error message. It'll usually look like a little red X, and it says something like, metadata not identified or metadata cannot be retrieved. And in this case, you're just going to have to go in and kind of fill all these out on your own, which you can do. You can also do that by, for example, adding new items, selecting the item you want, and just building the citation yourself. This is also a pretty good option if you get kind of stuck in that situation. So if you build a PDF, you'll notice that this icon has a little text icon filled in. Watch what happens when we click on it. We're right back on our PDF. So Zotero bills itself as a citation tool, but it's more than that. It also functions in the same way what we in library science would think of as precision retrieval, in that I can actually click on the link and immediately route back to the PDF, regardless of where I'm at. That's also worth noting, though, that if you are using EBSCO or something specific to CWU, you will need to provide your login when you're doing this service. But hopefully, you guys can sort of walk through that without any difficulty. So another cool feature that Zotero allows you to do is in these notes and tags tools. So let's say I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh, notes. I want to add a note. I'm thinking of looking at, Elizabeth Shackman Hurd, and I'm like, man, this seems like a great article. I bet I should find more by that. You can type it in here, notes. So when you do this, it'll automatically note to see a note under here. It just says good author. So Zotero allows us to take notes while we read and automatically have these notes available to us from any computer that we're logged into with the program. Another tool that I'm a very big fan of with Zotero, especially once you get working with very large collections, is our tag tool. So tags allow us to apply sort of labels to common items so that we can retrieve those items inside of large databases. Now, if you only have like 15 to 20 articles inside of Zotero, then maybe you won't want to, maybe you won't need these tag features. But, if you find yourself like importing hundreds of items into this, and believe me, it does happen, you might want to start adding a tag. So we see a title, right? Thinking about religion, law, and politics. So let's apply a tag, religion. Politics. Law. Latin America. These are my tags. And as you develop these tags, you can begin to use them to navigate around to other things that you've tagged with similar links in the system. I found this to be a very valuable tool with large sort of Zotero collections of citations, but you may or may not need to use it here. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is another little tool, like kind of trick you can do that will enable precision retrieval, even if you can't like import a PDF. So let's go back here. This is our America book, New York 1909, online, etc. And let's say you want to build a link to get back to this. So let's say you want to be able to get back to this item quickly and efficiently. Zotero allows you to do this. So I'm going to click on our little paperclip here. Now these do all sorts of fun things, but what we're really interested in is this one right here, attach link to URI. We click that, we're prompted to enter a link. Now, hold on. Excuse me for 1 second. We're going to copy this first. So that doesn't quite work on that way on Google Chrome, but apparently Firefox is a little more temperamental. Now we're back on my link prompt. I paste. Title. You can call this link title. So let's navigate away from this page for the moment. Okay, closing out. Now I go back to here. I see this little blue icon that pops up. When I double click, you see, I'm right back at the article where I started. So if you find yourself like, you don't need to manually ever go back and search for anything once you've created it in Zotero, if you just include a link. To get a little bit technical here, you can think of this sort of as an anchor tag that you might use in HTML. It takes you right back to the point that it's anchored to. And I found it's a very valuable sort of technique and really can save you a lot of time. Well, that concludes our lecture on Zotero. Without further ado, we're going to get started on our Mendeley content.